All right, welcome back. Time to unlearn what you have learned. And once again, I told you, this man, you got to hear him out. You got to hear him out. I got a couple other clips I also want to show. We're going to start with this right here. But once again, people say black people, don't be playing the victim, don't be doing, and some of them, it's kind of out of bounds and it's retarded. And you can see through those. You can pick those out and be like, okay, this person's full of it. But listen to what this man is saying. And I got two two little snippets from Malcolm, and then I got a couple other snippets to add on to that. So once again, you have to realize where this stuff comes from and how it happened. If you don't understand that, you can't speak on it. Let Malcolm talk.
There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox, and a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to, but the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend. There are many whites who are trying.
All right, so you heard that part. Now we're gonna look at this one, or we're gonna listen to it at least too. It's kind of off a little bit, so I hope you'll be able to hear it. But let's go.
The so-called Negro unable to stand on his own two feet. He has no self-confidence. He has no proud confidence in his own race. Because the white man destroyed your and my past, destroyed our knowledge of our culture. And by having destroyed it, now we don't know we have any achievements, any accomplishments. And as long as you can be convinced that you never did anything, you can never do anything. This is why the white man, his little children, he tells them about George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, all these white heroes. But we are never taught about any black heroes. Only someone we're shown in history is my grandfather was picking cotton. Cotton picking don't move me. No. But when it comes to teaching the black people something about great black men who stood their ground, who were scientists, who were civilizers, who were fathers of culture and civilization, the white man has shrewdly written that role out of the textbook. And today, the effect that it has on you and me, we don't think we can stand on our own two feet. We wake up, we clean up, and we stand up. And once we can stand up like a man on our own feet, we stop begging the white man. And we stop apologizing to the white man. We stop compromising with the white man. Then the world will look at us with recognition and respect. But as long as you're running around here wearing the white man's name, bragging about you one of the Joneses, or one of the Browns, or one of the Smiths, or as long as you're running around here bragging about your part in this so-called American democracy, then you will always be looked down upon as a chump by the white man. You never will be given recognition nor respect. Your problem will continue to go unsolved, and we'll still be in the same rut or ditch 1,000 years from now that we're in right now.
So, is he wrong? Is he wrong? But yet, once again, stop complaining. Everything's great, so on and so forth. Oh, but it gets even better. I got one more for you.
Think about it this way. White people didn't undergo 250 years of slavery and its aftermath. White people didn't suffer through racial segregation. White people didn't have a government that restricted their ability to own property, open a business, or own a bank account to grow generational wealth for their children and their children's children. White people didn't have to go through these things. So if we were just to ignore the fact that black people in America had to go through all of these things that have now systemically disadvantaged them, even today, and we were instead to say, ignore one's race and treat everybody the same, well then all of a sudden black people will continue to be disparaged. Imagine if you were playing a game of Monopoly with your friends. The banker, for whatever reason, really fucking hated you. He only gave you $10, gave everyone else $50, right? Then Mr. Jesus 2.0, man of equality, walks in and he says, well, I understand that you've been disadvantaged. I have the option to now give you an additional $40 to account for the fact that the banker kind of cheated you out of $40 to begin with. But instead, I'm just going to continue to treat you the same way I'm going to treat everybody else. Well, then all of a sudden, you're still experiencing a disadvantage today. And when we talk about programs or legislation to say target Black Americans or target Indigenous Americans, it aims to serve to fix the consequences of systemic forms of oppression in which have disadvantaged Black Americans or Indigenous Americans historically, which has perpetuated negative consequences that exist today for Black Americans or Indigenous Americans that don't exist for white Americans. Think about it this way. White people didn't.
So, there you go. There's another one. So, as long as we continue on this whole situation, especially with my, African American brothers and sisters, same thing. Like I said in my last video, I've never heard anyone mention anything about Malcolm X, anything about the Black Panthers. Those two things are very important because what they speak on and what they were doing, which is what they're saying that we should be doing now. Well, the reasoning behind that whole situation is why those things aren't happening right now is because our society, as far as the Black community has been, dismantled and run amok. They're all over the place. I got some more stuff, and some people, they probably won't like it, but honestly, it's the truth. I'm gonna give it to you straight. When you look at the foundation of this whole situation, when it comes to racism, and there's racism all over the place. It's not just Black, it's not just white. It's racism against Chinese, Japanese, racism against Jewish people. Racism everywhere. But the thing that makes me laugh more than anything is the fact that they try to make it to where Black people, that's not the case. There's no racism in Black culture. There's no racism with the Black community. I'm still trying to figure that one out. I'm still trying to figure out how that's possible. But yet we continue to look at these situations. We continue to say that, Black people don't have disadvantages because of the things that, are going on now and the things that Black people are doing and so on and so forth. If you look at the situation, the whole situation in itself, you see the lie within the lie. Because if you're thinking about all these people who are promoting these things, pretty much the destruction of the Black community with, the drugs and the gangs and all these different things, you get to see it for what it is. Because without someone there to give that opportunity for you to be able to say these things and promote these things, you ain't doing it by yourself. And see, once again, if you think about all these different situations, that's why in my last video, I mentioned NWA, because the same thing, the same scenario. It's about making money. That's what people want to do, is they want to make money. But the kicker with NWA was they were making music that pointed out the injustice in the situation. And guess what? The government didn't like it. And the government came after them. The police came after them. And it's like, okay, well, how can you be upset about something that pretty much is happening? And this is what you're doing. You're not being fair about it. You're not being logical about the situation. And another good movie on that whole situation too, which people seem to forget about, is the movie Crash. That movie shows it from all angles, different, different stereotypes, different types of racism and everything else. It shows you every single little, detail. So, there's that too, but that's a whole different story. But I just want to point out some, some certain things that, obviously in my last video, referring to Charlie, Kirk, bless his soul. He just wasn't fully, I feel that he wasn't fully educated on those situations. Maybe he was and just didn't mention it. But the fact of the matter is, you should be able to mention those things, and then you would, get the answer instead of just shutting out the whole situation, not understanding that systematically all these things were placed to do exactly what was happening right now. And once again, you're putting the whole blame on the black community when the black community wasn't like that before. It hasn't always been like that. You have to ask yourself that question. Has it always been that way? No. Things didn't start changing until, I'd probably say, wild guess, maybe the 60s. It had to. It's right after the deaths of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. First it was Malcolm, and then right after that, Martin Luther King. So when you look at that whole situation, as far as where Malcolm came from, and being raised up in the Nation of Islam, it was just too much. They couldn't do it. They just couldn't deal with it. They had to dismantle it. They had to break it down, because at that moment in time, we had our own shops, we had our own stores, we had our own restaurant, we had all that. And guess what happened? But yet y'all still, and even my fellow brothers and sisters are out there saying, oh, well, yeah, you ain't doing this, you ain't doing that. And you know why no one's doing it? Because of the confusion, because of what they implanted in our community. It's real simple to figure out, but nobody wants to hear that. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to hold themselves, their ancestors accountable. They're not going to look at the fact that all these huge companies they made all this money over the years, made that money on the backs of black people. Plain and simple. Just like Malcolm said, in that situation. It's right there. It's right there. Like I told you in my last video, the stuff that he says still resonates today. How is that possible? Because they're still doing the same things. They just hiding it. I mean, what do you? I'm not trying to make excuses, people. Trust me, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just pointing out the obvious. That's it. So, obviously, when it comes to Charlie Kirk, I'm not saying that he was a racist. I'm just saying he just didn't understand. Just like I told you in my last video. He just didn't understand. So, you have to be able to understand the situation completely in order to speak on it. And you can't be speaking on something you don't have no idea about, because once again, what's that going to cause? Confusion. That's also going to cause anger. That's also going to cause strife. That's also going to cause jealousy, and so on and so forth. All evil things, all bad things. And I'm sure he meant well. Like I said, most of the stuff, I don't disagree. He's right on the money. But those two things, black community and politics, I will always say, don't even put yourself in politics. Politics it's run amok. It's over. It's done. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to change, because once again, we see, we're asking for the Epstein files and get all that stuff out. Y'all said y'all had it. Let's go. Guess what? Then this happens. Anything to take our view off of what is true, and to keep us distracted. And once again, they successfully have done that. I don't know how you don't see it. It's right in front of us. Every time. 9/11, prime example of that. They were supposed to come out that day with the budget, the government budget, as far as the spending and so on and so forth. Well, guess what? 9/11 happened. They never came out with that. And the reason why? Because they was spending money. I mean, look at all the, military stuff we have, the planes, all the equipment. Hell, the planes alone, when I started looking into how much each plane cost, I was like, bro, that's crazy. One B-2 bomber? The amount of these stealth bombers, the amount of which is one of my favorite airplanes, the F-22 Raptor. The prices are out of this world. I'm not even going to tell you. You need to look it up for yourself. Anyways, I get to rambling and everything else, and but it's all, it's all the same. It's all connected. It all, but I have to say, and point out some of those different things, because in a way it does relate. But I mean, the only way we're gonna do this, people, is together. That's it. We can't do it any other way. And with this situation, guess what? Guess what's happening? Separation. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here, you're over there. I'm against you, you're against me. It's just a bunch of BS continuously. But once again, Malcolm, what he was speaking on as far as to the black community, he was right on the money. But yet, once again, I see these guys, they're running around saying what they're saying, putting out these videos and whatever else, but I never hear them mention anything about Malcolm X. I never heard them mention anything about the Black Panther Party, about what was going on at that time, what was going on at the time of the Nation of Islam when Malcolm was on his rise, how that was going and what he was saying and what he was doing. Guess what? Nothing. Crickets. So it is what it is. I'm just pointing out the facts. I'm out.